to stay healthy.
Yeah. We got some breaking news into SportsCenter. Adam Schefter and Jeremy Fowler reporting that former Seahawks Pro Bowl cornerback Riq Woolen and the Eagles have agreed to a one-year deal worth up to $15 million. Philly had spent the least amount of money in free agency so far. So what do you make of this signing?
Look, I love Riq Woolen. I mean, this is a guy who's 6'4", just about 200 pounds, who ran 4.2 at the combine when he came out. I mean, that's ridiculous. You don't find guys like that walking the face of the earth. And I think a lot of people were sitting around wondering, like, what was management going to do here in Philadelphia, given all the things that have walked out the door? Jalen Phillips is a fantastic player, got paid. Nakobe Dean, homegrown. Reed Blankenship has been a very steady player. Jahan Dotson, good role player. Dallas Goedert, we don't know where things are going to go with him right now. So people were sitting there going, with this football team, as good as they've been at drafting and developing, they weren't making any moves, and people starting to get antsy. Well, you can see, look, free agency just started. Actually, it hasn't even really started yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of time left. This team is very much so entrenched in terms of its philosophy and how they like to build. And the draft is really where they really go to work. So I think it's interesting for me to see how they really wind up approaching the rest of this team building this offseason. But Riq Woolen, that's a typical Philadelphia pickup of a guy who's just uber talented, needs to keep his head on straight at all times and not cost his football team. But when he's locked in, he's as good as any in the league.
You feel good, Kev?
I feel really good. And listen, they got to pay a lot of young guys.
Yeah.
That's
down
right.
the road.
Exactly.
Quinion, Cooper.
You got to pick,
Yes.
right? And hey, you know what? I mean, and how about that guy named Jalen Carter?
Yes.
That's going to be the one to watch.
That's a big
How do
decision.
they handle that, especially considering the fact that Jordan Davis just got his money already?
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Nick Gandhi's happy. League year officially starts in less than 24 hours. Louis Riddick, thank you. In the ASC in free agency.
Christine, the Ravens made a big splash. Adam Schefter saying they landed Pro Bowl defensive end Max Crosby from the Raiders for first-round picks in the next two drafts. Baltimore had only 30 sacks last year.
The Bills think they have their #1 receiver for Josh Allen, acquiring DJ Moore and a 5th-round pick from the Bears for a second-rounder. He had career lows with 50 catches and 682 yards last season.
Patriots, they found a receiver after releasing Stephon Diggs. Adam Schefter, Jeremy Fowler reporting that former Packers wide receiver Romeo Doubs has a 4-year, $80 million deal to go to Foxborough.
And Schefter reporting that Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker III got a 3-year, $43 million deal from the Chiefs. KC also keeping Travis Kelce on a 1-year, $12 million deal. He credited his fiancée Taylor Swift for the decision.
We share the same love for what we do, and we've had this, fortunately we've had this desire since we were kids in our selective professions, and it's amazing to see her keep going to the table, keep finding new things to write about, keep finding, new melodies and things like that. And on top of that, still seeing her have that love and joy in what she does. I'm going through something where I'm trying to figure out exactly what the future holds for me. Something like that definitely motivates me to say, you know what, I'm not done either. I still got some ideas in the back of my mind and still got some juice left to play this game.
Finding new melodies. I like what he did there. Louis Riddick is back with us. What do you make of the AFC after all the changes that we've seen?
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting teams now when you're trying to figure out what the hierarchy is going to look like. I think none are more interesting, though, than Baltimore. Because, look, they've definitely pushed all their chips in, and they have said, look, Max Crosby, you're the missing piece. And not only are you the missing piece in terms of what you bring to the table, but we believe that you are going to be a force multiplier and help everyone else get better as well. And that means this. That means guys like the young pass rushers, like they have like Mike Green, Tavius Robinson. You have to make them better. You have to make Kyle Hamilton better. You have to make Anthony Weaver, the new defensive coordinator, and Jesse Minter, our new head coach. You have to make all of us look smart because of what we gave away for you. And then on the offensive side of the football, look, I mean, Declan Doyle's the new offensive coordinator, right? So Lamar Jackson, him and Declan Doyle have to hit it off and be on the same page immediately because the offense needs to level up. That's one of the reasons why John Harbaugh isn't there anymore. So I think with Baltimore, without a doubt, this is the football team that is going to be in the spotlight maybe more than any of them. They're really trying to change their identity or recapture their identity as a defensive-driven football team. That's why Jesse Minter is there. And I think Max is really the focal point. Because he's the guy who they're going to trot out there and go, you have to set the tone. You're the tip of the spear now. So every time that they're on the football field, that's where it's going to point to. It's going to start with number 98. And I think, look, he has the shoulders to handle it, though.
Yeah, for sure. Crosby, by the way, the first veteran player that the Ravens have ever traded one, let alone 2 first-round picks to get.
Let's talk about the reigning AFC champs. That is the Patriots, okay? They released Stephon Diggs, led the team in receiving yards. You have Drake May entering year 3 here, and then you go to Romeo Doubs.
Yeah.
How does he help this team get back to the Super Bowl? That is Doubs coming from the Packers.
Well, he does just about everything well, Kevin. That's really what you want. See, think about the people who they have right now. When you think of like a guy like Kayshon Boutte, who they have, who's really a deep threat, a vertical route runner. When you watch Romeo Doubs, this is a guy who can run routes at all 3 levels of the field, attack all areas of the field, outside the numbers, between the hash, catch and run, 50-50 balls down the field, stutter goes, speed cuts. He can do all of that. So when you're looking at what does Drake May need, Romeo really can give you everything that he needs because he can do just about everything you ask. So would a lot of people who are casual football fans or maybe even like really invested football fans think of Romeo as a true number 1 like you think about A.J. Brown, who's been linked to this team so many different times? No, you probably wouldn't. But when you watch his tape, then you sit there and go, now I see exactly why Elliott Wolf wanted him. The guy who's really the GM up there. I can see why Braves wanted him. I can see why Josh McDaniels wanted him. Drake May's going to love him.
Doubs has been talking to teams, talking to Washington, talking to New England, but ultimately New England steps up with a 4-year deal worth over $70 million, could climb up to $80 million with incentives. And Romeo Doubs is a player that shined in Green Bay. And Green Bay's lost a lot of talent this offseason. The latest player to leave there is Romeo Doubs. It doesn't preclude the Patriots from one day trying to get A.J. Brown, but it certainly offers them some insurance for a team that moved on from Stephon Diggs this offseason. As for the A.J. Brown, again, just because Doubs wound up there doesn't mean that they can't get it done, but there's no urgency on anybody's part right now for an A.J. Brown trade. This one looks like it'll just sit out there for a little while. It certainly could flare back up at any point. His future in Philly is uncertain. There have been trade discussions, but the Eagles have been steadfast that they're not looking to trade him, that they wouldn't trade him unless they got an offer they couldn't refuse. And so far, that offer has not materialized.
Interesting, the door's still open there for the Patriots, potentially. We're not expecting that anytime soon, as Adam alluded to. But the Eagles have been uncharacteristically quiet so far this offseason, right? Howie Roseman, you see there on the screen, he likes to make moves. They lost Jalen Phillips to the Panthers, Nakobe Dean to the Raiders, Reed Blankenship to the Texans. That trio played over 1,700 snaps for the Philly defense last season. So far, they've signed 0 free agents. I mean, J-Mac, that's big. There's a lot of continuity there that's now gone.
Yeah, and you knew it was kind of coming just because of all of the guys they have on the defensive side of the ball. Quinyon Mitchell's going to have to get paid. Cooper DeJean at some point is going to have to get paid. Jalen Carter. There's so many guys, you can't just keep them all. So I would remind Eagles fans to just pump your brakes. We're only 2 days into free agency, and the league year hasn't even started. So I think that Howie Roseman, wheeling and dealing, there's still a chance and an opportunity to make some of those moves, but it is kind of scary when you see all these guys.
J-Mac.
All these guys leaving the building.
If I'm a fan, I'm like, what's going on with my team? My team's gone.
Trey Hendrickson is still out there. Who knows what the price tag is?
Right
now, it doesn't seem like anybody has reached what he's asking for. So as that number potentially could come down, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, do you start to potentially get into that conversation?
I will say this. If you're a fan at home and you're like, oh, man, my team, I don't know what's going on. This doesn't feel good. The draft is strong in some key areas. Wide receiver, there's some good pass rushers. There's some key people. We saw that combine. People are speeding all over the field. There's a lot more coming your way here. And Lewis is going to tell you some things that you're going to want to know, okay? Who should people be going after